Welcome back to the Italian Film Buff podcast. How are you, boys and girls? Welcome back. So, another episode this week. I'm gonna be MCU centric. I'm gonna talk about the MCU. I'm gonna talk about Kevin Feige, a man with a plan, and I'm gonna talk about Thunderbolts. So, I wanna tackle this thing. I wanna tackle the elephant, the Thunderbolts in the room. Yes, let's do this. So let's start from the report. A new report from the Wall Street Journal. I'm gonna read the news as I managed to collect a couple of information from Screen Rant and different outlets. So I'm gonna try to make a huge kind of. I'm gonna have a small recap of the situation. Okay, so what happened? So a new report from the Wall Street Journal, from the Wall Street Journal, I can't compute today. I'm destroyed. More light has been shed on what is going on with the X-Men at Marvel Studios, as a reboot movie is still in the works. According to the Wall Street Journal, Kevin Feige has reportedly told multiple colleagues at Marvel Studios that he has a 10-year plan for the mutants in the MCU. At the time of this story's publication, Disney and Marvel Studios have yet to comment. But this is not the only thing. The report has many very interesting things in it, and continues saying that the timing of this MCU report is also interesting, as this is only coming a day after it has revealed that a Deadpool / X-Men movie, from Ryan Reynolds at Marvel Studios is being explored, as the actor is currently writing a pitch that has yet to go out to the higher-ups. So, what's going on? Kevin Feige, a man with a plan. He has a 10-year plan, another 10 years plan that I think is going to be very different for what he had in mind for the past couple of years, since basically everything went up in smoke because the Kang dynasty, the whole Kang thing went up in smoke. The multiverse failed pretty much miserably. I think we're going to see the last of it with the following movie. I think we wrap up with the multiverse kind of thing, but anyway, we are going into a new era with the Avengers and whatever comes next, but most likely it's going to be more about the X-Men at this point in time. So this is the future, but the report is going on saying something else as well. So Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige has reportedly, this is the most important part according to me, I think this is my thoughts, has reportedly admitted that his company rushed out too many TV shows and movies in recent years, and that keeping up with the Marvel Cinematic Universe has become more like a homework for some viewers than entertainment. However, the outlet spoke to over a dozen people who have either worked at Marvel or done business with Marvel Studios, claiming insider knowledge of Feige's strategies. Their insight fit with the studio's own public statement about scaling back on TV show in the hopes that more fans will keep up with the franchise if they focus on quality over quantity. Insiders said that Disney was already making plans to fill out its Disney Plus slate when Endgame was dominating the box office, and the company already expected Marvel to provide plenty of new material. Feige's team was small and tight-knit at the time, with little hope of keeping up with Disney's new demands. Still, Feige reportedly wanted to set lofty goals for their Disney Plus show in order to be a good corporate citizen, in addition to telling even more exciting story. So, before we end this part and all the information that we have, we gotta talk about this. Because the man has a plan, a 10-year plan with the X-Men, but at the same time, he knows that they put out too many TV shows, too many movies, and the quality wasn't there. And plus it became kind of homework, became kind of annoying for the audience to follow all those TV show and movies. And even I have a podcast about movies in Italian as well, and people all the time they ask me, should I watch other movies before I go to the movie theater? I mean, even with Thunderbolts, many people told me, well, what am I supposed to do? Should I watch other movies? Can I go to the movie theater and understand what's going on? And this is a big no-no for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm going to articulate on that moving forward, but basically I want to finish this whole thing and then we're gonna break it down. So Marvel Studios' established process were strained by the production of multiple TV shows and movies, in particular the long-standing expectation that Feige would personally have final say on all creative matters because major bottleneck for the studio. In some cases, it produced weeks of wasted work as employees continued their project while waiting for a chance to get approval from Feige. If he wanted to make big changes, they have to go back several steps. So, let's go back. I believe in the past couple of years, the biggest mistake done by Kevin Feige and the Marvel Studio was not only to produce an insane amount of TV show and movies and basically disperse and destroy his own audience and basically have this Marvel fatigue that actually happened. That's not just it. The problem, I believe, were two. First problem, he completely killed any chance to give identity to the characters and to the movies. Why? Because when he decided to bring into the movies this idea of a shared universe, in order to have more control on the shared universe, and it's something that he has done on TV as well, we're going to talk about that in a second. In order to guarantee that control, what he has done, he basically had director and screenwriter under his control in order to have no actual personality and an identity in any of the movies. What happened is that, take for example Spider-Man, the management of Spider-Man under the MCU, the Disney with Sony, was horrible. I believe it was terrible. They produced some of the very bad, the worst probably Spider-Man movie, and this is from the very beginning, the roots of the creation of Spider-Man inside the MCU, because the character has no personality whatsoever. Everything that he has comes from Tony Stark, and he was sacrificed on the altars of Tony Stark, of the character, of this main character that became, the engine of the whole MCU, and a very strong character like Spider-Man, that it's before the movie everybody knew who Spider-Man was. Most of the people had no clue who Tony Stark was and who Iron Man was. Let's be real for a second. I'm a nerd since I was a kid, and if I was going, oh, Spider-Man, everybody knew who was Spider-Man. If I was going around saying Tony Stark, Iron Man, people were like, what the hell are you talking about? Who the hell is Tony Stark? Nobody knew the character. On a pop level, on a very pop level. Of course, comic book enthusiasts, they knew who Tony Stark was, of course. But the general audience had no clue whatsoever. Spider-Man, it's a very strong character for a reason, because it works so well, and everything that works so well in Spider-Man was sacrificed, was killed. The personality of the character, his foundation, and why he's so central and pivotal inside the Marvel Universe, and why he's so unique and strong, was totally destroyed by the MCU kind of vision. And no other movies could have any sort of personality, because everything needed to have the same kind of tone but this is bad. I understand that in an environment like movies, you need to have a sort of consistency to have a shared universe. I mean, what Christopher Nolan said once, because they asked him about Superman, and he said, in a world where my Batman exists, there is no space for Superman. Superman can't exist in that world. It's something that in the comic book, it's like comic book are crazy, because you are in Gotham, and Gotham is a world that is basically on fire, and then you go to Metropolis and it's something completely different. You go to the world of Flash. Flash is I don't remember now the name of the city. Oh, I'm having an absolute, I can't remember it. But anyway, you go in the world of Flash and it's completely different. I mean, it's more like Superman. It's more upbeat, it's more happy, it's more colorful. Anyway, those characters, they are psychotic when you put them together because they don't make sense. But it's a comic book, it's fine. In a movie theater, in a cinematic universe, I understand you trying to tone down the different story in order to, in a way, try to make them work together, but in a way you're gonna fail, because in a cinematic universe the limit of the comic book storytelling are more evident and are more, they destroy the universe faster, because anybody on this earth is memeing on the fact that, for example, now when shits go down in the Thunderbolt movie, where the hell is Spider-Man? Where the hell is Doctor Strange? Where the hell is anybody else out there? Daredevil, where are they? What's going on? Why they are not there? Why they are not helping? Well, in a shared universe like this, if you try to give a tone to everything like this, well, the question is gonna come and you can't answer that. You have to rely on the audience to say, okay, we don't care. Fuck it. You have to rely on that. But since you have to rely on that, I think it would be way more beneficial to change the tone. And I think they are trying to understand that, because Thunderbolts has already a very different tone from other Marvel movies. Daredevil as a TV show has a very different tone from anything else inside the Marvel universe. And if you gotta blend them together at some point, you can do that, but just give identity to your character, because when you take the identity away from the character, you take away the character and you take away any chance to have the audience engage. Because I don't want Spider-Man to be less impactful, less heroic, because there is Tony Stark and he has to be the center of everything and whatever. Because for the love of God, for 2 movies out of 3, Tony Stark, it's more pivotal than Peter Parker and Spider-Man itself, and doesn't make any sense. It's not, it's crazy. It's insane. So I believe that Feige made this crucial mistake when he started to evolve, because at the beginning it wasn't like that. Iron Man had his own kind of tone and thing, Thor has his own way, Captain America was in a way, the single heroes still had a kind of their own way of describing their world. It wasn't that different, but each of them had at least a kind of a little bit of personality. But moving forward, no. The only heroes that they had a little bit of personality are the one by James Gunn. But James Gunn is a very good director, is a very good writer, and I think like they thought to have his own thing. And even Volume 3, I believe the Guardian of the Galaxy Volume 3 is the movie that works the most, even taking in consideration Thunderbolts. It's the movie that works the most out of all the movie post-Endgame, because they are all kind of bad. In the best case scenario, they are decent. Thunderbolts is the first one that it's a good movie. I believe it. Now we're gonna talk about it later on. But it's the only one that works. Guardians of the Galaxy is the only one, Volume 3, it's the only one that is great. All of them, all the others, they're like, nah. I have watched it, it's okay. let's move on. I don't want to watch this any longer. Even Spider-Man No Way Home, if you rewatch, I watched it in the movie theater, I was like, okay. But then if you start to think about it, and if you rewatch it, it starts to fall apart big time, because it doesn't make much sense. It's not a solid movie. And I went nuts because when the first movie were released, I was like, come on guys, this is not Spider-Man. He's missing the basic principle. And everybody was like, oh, you're annoying, we have enough of great power comes great responsibility, we have enough of this, we have enough of that, the older Spider-Man are crap. People were like crapping on Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. They were like, no, they're bad. When there was a chance to them to come back, people lost it. And when the old movies went back to the theater, and we're gonna talk about the box office of, I'm talking about the box office of the Sam Raimi movie, people went to watch them big time. They had a good run in the movie theaters. And the thing is that people were like, oh, finally Goblin, oh, finally Dr. Octopus, oh, finally she's saying from great power comes great responsibility. And I was like, are you mental, guys? Are you mental? An insane amount of people were like complaining that that thing, they were happy that that thing was not in the movies, that we were not having a Spider-Man that was connected to that principle, that it's very important for him. And they were cheering, oh, finally. And then when we put it back, oh, it's so great. People are nuts. The fan base is nuts. But those three movies are terrible. I believe those three movies are bad. Insane bad. And I think because of this, because Kevin Feige destroyed any chance to build a proper movie, to build the character properly, to give them personality, to give them to give them the things that make them heroes. And we're gonna talk about that even with Thunderbolts, because when you gotta build heroes, you gotta make them powerful. When I see Spider-Man on screen, I need to understand that he's powerful, that he's very that he's strong, that he can save the day. I gotta, like Sam Raimi says in Spider-Man 2, I mean, the way Sam Raimi frames Spider-Man 2, Aunt May make that speech about heroes, and we wait to see them and how great they are and how they inspire us. Tom Holland's Spider-Man, I'm sorry, I love Tom Holland, but his Spider-Man is weak. Not as a hero, as a symbol. It's not that strong. It's like it's weak. It's not powerful. It's not epic, and it's not as inspiring. It's very weak as a character. So I don't like those movies, and I think Kevin Feige made a huge crucial mistake in telling that story because of that, because he sacrificed the characters, and he has done that with many movies and with many projects. Plus, as the report says, the thing is that since Disney Plus was pushing to have more content, they start to sacrifice the quality, and we can see that. It was pretty clear to anybody who was watching, because the main thing about the TV show of the Marvel Universe, you watch the first episode, it's great. The second, the third, and then going forward, the TV show starts to fall apart. Because the other mistake that here is not reported, and it was reported back in time, it was that Kevin Feige wanted to reinvent the wheel of how TV shows were made. So how TV shows are made. TV show usually made that you have a showrunner. The showrunner is God, because he's the creator of the show, and with the writer stuff, he's the one who is basically building the web of all the events and stuff happening in the TV show, and he's the one who is going to choose the director and stuff like that. The director, it's not like in the movie industry. The director, it's like the last person you ask anything about the story, how it's going. The writers are the one that move forward. Then the director, of course, they have an input and stuff like that, but they are not that important. The showrunner is the one in charge. But since Feige wanted to have control, he started to select director, because he can control director, and he was basically having himself and the director in charge. So, and in this way, the director could take decision on the show with Feige, because the thing was that he wanted to have control. Like they said here in this report, any decision was supposed to go to Feige, and then he needed to approve or anyway review it and change it and say, no, you gotta change this and stuff like that, because he wanted to have control, absolute control, and it doesn't work like that. So in this way, what happened is that the director, they were taking the decision because they were hired by Feige. It's like a wait, and it was not like that's not how it works. But anyway, he was hiring the director. The director, they were responding to him, and so he had basically the final say on everything. And the writer stuff, they were like puppets dancing to make stuff happen. So if they wanted to change something, the writer needed to change it according to what Feige and the director thought about that. And that's not how television works. I'm sorry. You need to have a showrunner understanding the story, creating the story, and moving the story forward. And the director has to shut the hell up. Of course, there are exceptions when you have a director that is also a screenwriter and the creator and the showrunner, and they run the whole show with the writers. It's different, but he's the showrunner as well. Here we had the director that was basically dancing according to what Feige was deciding and telling the writer stuff to do. And the director was like there to kind of in a way mimic the way the director works in movies. But the thing is that even in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the director counts nothing, because most of the time, if you check the director that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is hiring, most of the time there are directors that are there to basically do whatever the studio says. They're not that much, they don't have that much creative power. It happened with a couple of directors to give them creative power, like Taika Waititi and, for example, with James Gunn, and see what happened to James Gunn. Anyway, to James Gunn, and as well it happened with, at the beginning, with Jon Favreau, with Iron Man. But it was an exception. Most of the time the director, they are like passing by. They go there, they have their big shot, they are happy that they have their big shot with that kind of movie. Even if you check Thunderbolts director, he never stepped into that environment. So they have that big shot, they go there, they're super happy, and they're not going to impose any kind of view on what they are going to do, because they kind of can't. That's the dealio. You come here, you're doing what you're told, you do your craft, and bye-bye. See you later. The MCU kind of argue with any director who had a specific vision. And that's bad. That's very bad. That's why the MCU can't bring home a movie that it's actually special. This thing happened as well with the previous Avengers. It's not just that there is a downfall of the director, because I don't remember, Joss Whedon, he made a fantastic works with his two Avengers, because basically if you check out Avengers, the first one and the second one, not just the writing, but even the way the movie is directed, the blocking of the scenes, the way is more epic and it's more powerful, the framing and everything, that the visual storytelling, it's amazing in those two movies, because Joss Whedon, it's a very good director and he knows how to tell this story. He knows how to frame them. If you check Age of Ultron, maybe you can say, I don't like that much Age of Ultron as a story. That's fine. But if you check, even if despite the story that you maybe cannot like, but on an artistic level, on a level of how the movie is spectacular, Joss Whedon is on another planet compared to the Russo brothers. Because the Russo brothers, even they are there because they do what they are told. Because if you check Russo's brothers movie outside the MCU, oh my good god, they are not that great, to be honest. Electric State, it's kind of terrible. It's one of the worst movie that they have seen in ages. I'm sorry about that, but it's true. Even a couple of episode from Citadel that they directed here and there, they're kind of bad. Even The Gray Man, it's kind of bad. I'm sorry about it. If you check Winter Soldier, because everybody say, oh, but the Winter Soldier is great. Wait, hold your horses. If you check the behind the scene, many action scenes were basically planned on set because they don't have that much time. But Sam Hargraves, that went to direct Tyler Rake, and other stunt director, and that movie is almost directed by the stunt the stunt designer and the stunt choreographer, basically, in many, and it's basically an action movie, and it's very good because I think the story was solid, and because I think that the action is solid because of the people they had on set. If you check Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, in many parts the movie it's not that gorgeous. Speaking of cinematography and framing and stuff like that, it's not that spectacular, but the movie works because I think they had a great story. They have an insane cast of character that people loved, the original Avengers. It was an epic story, and basically I believe the Russo brothers were helped by an amazing department of professionals. I believe that the professionals on set were insane. Even the VFX, the whole thing about the suits and stuff like that, they had an amazing support by the people working with them. But if you take them out of that equation, the Russo brothers, they basically failed every time since they left Marvel and Disney. And if you check James Gunn, if you check Guardian of Superman is not yet released. But anyway, if you check Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the way he's directing the movie and writing the movie, it's insane. It's insane. The quality of the VFX, the standard of the VFX, the way the movie is written, the way the movie is framed, the storytelling, it's fantastic. The Russo brothers, they don't have that level. Nobody else except for Joss Whedon, that it's a good director, has that level of quality inside the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The first Iron Man, it's a solid movie. The second one, the third one, but by Shane Black, it's has his moment. I love Shane Black, but that's not a great movie. Anyway, it's a decent movie, but it's not that great. I kind of love it, but I kind of understand that it's not that great. If you check Thor's, basically the only good movie is the first one by Kenneth Branagh. The second is, oh my god, everybody forgot about it for a specific reason. And the third one, Ragnarok by Taika Waititi, I kind of stand by it because I believe it's a decent movie. But if you want to make kind of a in a way, Thor Ragnarok, it's like Batman Forever, and Love and Thunder, it's like Batman and Robin. I mean, Ragnarok, you still can find stuff that are okay, and you can kind of love that movie. Like Batman Forever, there are stuff that you can love, you can stand by that movie, something that's great there, but something is very not. But with Love and Thunder, it's like Batman and Robin. You just trash the whole thing. I'm sorry about that. There are a couple of stuff, Christian Bale, it's great. Everything else, oh my dear God, if it's bad. I'm sorry about it. I'm sorry. I love Taika Waititi, but that movie, it's all over the place. It's a mess. And this is how Marvel worked for the last, 5-6 years. Since the end of Endgame, since the end of the Thanos saga, that's how it worked. And to be honest, if you check out the legacy of the Marvel Studios, there are a bunch of movies that are good, but the whole thing, it's not always that good. Some part are kind of let's forget about this. If you rewatch them, it's not just the CGI age and stuff like that, because the first Avengers, the CGI has aged, clearly. But the movie, it's a solid movie. It's a great movie. I loved it. And I still love it when I rewatch it from time to time. It's a good movie. But if you rewatch Ant-Man, if you rewatch even Black Panther, I don't believe in those movies. They're kind of bad, to be honest. And I think that Kevin Feige made the mistake to basically destroy any chance to give any personality to the single movies. And in fact, we are going to have the 2 new Avengers movies, and we don't care about the characters. To be honest, they're kind of counting on that. We love the Thunderbirds. Thunderbirds, it's another thing. It's a show from the 60s. But anyway, they are counting that we love the Thunderbolts, and they managed to do that. And we're gonna talk about this in the review. And they're kind of counting on the fact that we love the Fantastic Four. But anybody else, if I don't know, at the end of the first movie they kill Shang-Chi, who cares? I'm sorry, I'm gonna be honest, who cares? The character, we don't care about the character. The movie was barely decent, but it's out there. I think the idea, because apparently the idea to call back the Russo brothers and Robert Downey Jr. was all Kevin Feige idea. Of course, he's in charge of everything, because he thinks that he can recreate the magic, and because I think he knows he has nothing strong to bring the audience back to the theater. Because if they choose another actor to play Victor Van Doom, I don't know if the response would have been the same. But they chose Robert Downey Jr. and people went mental. Not all of them are mental in a good way, but most of them are like, I want to watch this because there is Robert Downey Jr. What's going on with that? So people want to watch it. But anyway, they're trying to, in a way, artificially create hype for a movie that actually we don't care about. Because even Sam, the new Captain America, I love the actor. I love him. He's very good. But I don't like the character. I mean, the character Captain America Brave New World was, again, a movie that barely managed to stand on its own. It's not a good movie. It's very forgettable. And I believe they sacrificed the build up, the occasion for rise up for this new Captain America. I love when the shield went to him, even if kind of Bucky deserved it, to be honest. But anyway, he went to him. It's fine. It's a decision. It's okay. I can make it work. But unfortunately, the character, we don't care about it in the movie. Spider-Man, we love Tom Holland, but I don't know. We are. The thing is that even if I think about the production, and I know that Tom Holland is not going to be on set because he's shooting the Odyssey with Chris Nolan, and is gonna do basically the voiceover, because the whole time on set there's gonna be a stunt playing instead of him, and then they're gonna do the voiceover. That's my understanding on the film. For the first Avengers, at least, he's not going to be on set, but the movie's being shot back to back, so we hope he's going to be at least physically there for the second movie. But anyway, the character is not that strong. He's not the kind of to me, Spider-Man was supposed to be the new Tony Stark, the new very big hero, very big Marvel hero to take on his shoulder the new era of the MCU. They can't because it's also there with Sony, but it was supposed to be like that in a way. So who's going to be the new Tony Stark? There is no one there to do that. Reed Richards, so the Fantastic Four, they're going to be the new center, the new pivotal center of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, probably. They are a family. They're also in target with the audience because, I don't know, more than 10 years went by, almost 20, and people grew up. I was in my 20s, I am almost 40. People were kids, maybe now they go to university, they're about to get married, whatever. So a family makes sense to lead the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Anyway, I'm rambling on. But what I'm saying here is that I think this summer we're gonna have a couple of moments in time where we're gonna see they can make it or break it. So the first thing is gonna be Superman. It's not about the MCU, but follow me, please. Superman by James Gunn is gonna decide if Warner is gonna stick the landing, and if it will reborn as a studio. Because this is the thing, because Warner is counting on James Gunn's Superman, that it's the beginning of the new DCU, to be a big thing. Because they need a win, a huge win. They need a huge win. And so they're counting on it. Because if that works, and maybe Supergirl works, kind of, and maybe Lobo works, and maybe the new Batman works, and if they manage to produce the Batman, even if at this point probably they're gonna save money in the production, but anyway, if they manage to produce other movies by DC that they are going to work, they are kind of safe from firing an insane amount of people and probably kind of reduce in size what Warner Brothers is. That's probably what's going to happen. And if that doesn't work, superhero movies are kind of in danger more than in the last couple of years. And the other thing is Fantastic Four. If Fantastic Four works like that, they make $1 billion at the box office, Marvel is kind of safe. Because I believe if Kevin Feige wants to apply a decent plan, he has to release way less movie than he did in the past. And he needs to give personality to those movies. He can't just keep counting on this shared universe that it's not working, because any sort of credibility of the universe, as we said before, it's not there. Because every time New York get attacked, you go where the heck is Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Daredevil? Where are they? So, because in a cinematic universe, this flaw is more obvious that when you buy a comic book. Because you're buying a comic book for Spider-Man, you're just reading Spider-Man, and you're fine with it, and you don't care about the others. But when you go to the movie theater, you kind of expect that, because the idea of the shared universe is more tangible, it's more solid. So you start to ask questions yourself. Also because an insane amount of people go to see them all together in Avengers and stuff like that. So this is also the thing. I mean, in the comic book, you have the freedom to just read Spider-Man, and then if you would like, you can read the Avengers and kind of get the gist of it, of whatever is going on. You don't need to read any single comic book to understand the adventure in the Avengers. And vice versa, if I want to read Spider-Man, doesn't matter if I read Iron Man or whatever, they're supposed to stand on their own feet. In cinema, is not happening like that. And that is a mistake. That is a huge mistake. Because Spider-Man needs to stand on his feet, doesn't matter whatever is happening around him. So I think that the only way to rebuild this universe is that if we start from there. And with Daredevil, with Thunderbolts, it's kind of happening. And now I want to talk about Thunderbolts, because one last thing before Thunderbolts, about the fact that everybody needed to report to Kevin Feige creating a bottleneck. If he wants, that he wants to have supervision of everything, but he has to start to kind of rely on a director who share a vision with him. Otherwise, this is not going to work. And he needs to start to rely on showrunner for television show, and to rely on a system that it's proven to be working for, well, ages compared to the Marvel system by Feige that has proved to be a disaster. That's kind of the thing. So it's like it's a disaster. Jump ship. Just okay, it was a stupid idea. Let's start from scratch. I think that would be very, very beneficial. But let's talk about Thunderbolts, directed by Jake Schreier, and the screenplay was written by Eric Parson and Joanna Callow. So I gotta be honest, I'm surprised because I wasn't expecting a movie that was supposed to work this well. I think the movie works very well because the movie works despite the post-credit scene. What am I saying here? What am I saying is that the other problem with the latest Marvel movie is that you care so little about Shang-Chi that the only thing you want to say is the post-credit scene. The post-credit scene syndrome, it's huge between the Marvel Cinematic Universe fans because the only thing they care is that. In this movie, even if the post-credit scene it's huge, mostly the one after the very end of the movie when the all credits are gone, that's super huge and was even directed by the Russo apparently on the set of the new Avengers film. So even if it's that huge, you still care about the Thunderbolts and you still care about the movie and you enjoy your time with the Thunderbolts and with this movie because they managed to give a meaning to those heroes, to their adventure, and to whatever it's going on. Because this movie, it's about purpose. And it was funny because I was going to the movie theater and I read a thread by, oh my God, I gotta find the name because I don't remember it right now. It's not in the back of my head, but I'm gonna say it because it's a professor, Harvard professor. It's very smart. I follow him, Arthur C. Brooks. And I'm gonna read it because it's relevant. Young people, simply put, are less likely to define the meaning of their life, and worst of all, there's evidence that they're not even looking for it. I have lots of data going back to the 60s. We can blame social media, which is a big problem, but the truth is that our device use is just a way to fritter away our time and distract us from the fact that we don't know the meaning of our lives. And this is something that I swear to God, at some point, Yelena, played by Florence Pugh, she's stating, I do my mission, I go back home, I drink, and then I scroll my phone to just forget about the fact that I don't have a meaning. She's just moving mechanically through life. And this is, I was reading this and then I watched the movie, I was like, Jesus Christ. This is actually very, very, it's something very connected to what we are living now. Because I'm no longer can be defined as young because I'm almost 38. So I don't know, I'm starting to be, sir, senior citizen, can you move? I'm starting to be like closer to that kind of thing. But I rely on that because I struggle a lot to find a purpose. And that's something that happens to the people in their 20s, their 30s, and their 40s. It's something that it's epidemic for entire generations. And Brooks continue, if you can find the meaning of your life, if you can understand the why of your existence, your life changes. I know this because I've seen it. The meaning of life has three parts: coherence, significance, and purpose. Coherence is understanding why things happen the way they do. Significance is knowing to whom your life matters. Purpose is identifying the goal and direction in your life. What you are here to do. Those are the questions you need to answer. And we can apply this to this movie because Yelena, she needs to find coherence, so understanding why things happen the way they do, so make a reason that why her life went in the way it went. So she was a bright girl. There is this amazing moment with David Harbour, yes, and her, the Red Guardian, her father, and he goes like, I had this bright little girl, she was full of life, every time she entered a room, she brightened up her room. She was amazing. She was full of joy. And then that thing went away because whatever happened, the way she was trained to become an assassin, that thing was killed. And we have this sequence that is in the head of Yelena. She continues to goes back to this flashback of her luring another little girl in the forest, and she get whatever, and she has this trauma, and the things went the way they went. She can't do anything about it. So coherence, why things happen the way they do, and why things keep happening the way they do, the way her sister died, why her sister died. Then significance is knowing to whom your life matters, and her life matters to his father. He loves her. He wasn't there when she needed him, but he's there now, and he loves her. And then the final thing, purpose, identifying the goals and direction in your life. What you are here to do. And even about this, there is a discussion with Red Guardian, because she asked honestly to him, when you were happy? And it was like, when I was serving my country, when I was a hero, when I was important for people. Then he has a kind of comedic interpretation of the thing, because anyway, the movie is kind of light. But the thing is truth. Life of service. Many people says a life of service can be an answer to be a service of others. And that's what he's saying to her. Your life, the skill that you have, the thing that you do can have a meaning if you find a meaning in service. So be a hero for others. And this is all about it. And they find a meaning in this. And it also brings back stuff from the Avengers. In a way, they recreate the kind of the thing that he created Joss Whedon when they start to save New York. In a scene, there is a moment that they do something similar, because the purpose of those heroes, that all of them, they have flaws, they have done something bad, they have done something they regret, their life is ruined in a way, they are kind of freaks, some of them. But still, even if they lost stuff, even if they are supposed to question everything they have done, a life of purpose, a life dedicated to help others, can save them and can help them save others. And this is what they're going to do. And it's a way, in a way, it's that thing about villains and heroes. Villains, I never recall the name of the guy who came up with this, but heroes, they act like this. It's always how you react to things. So the heroes, their origin story is, the world hurt me, I'm gonna avenge the world, so I'm gonna avoid that the world is gonna be hurt like I was. Villains are like this: the world hurt me, I'm gonna hurt the world. And this is how villains works. And this movie talk about this as well. Fundamentally, it's about this as well, because basically, if you follow the movie, even in the movie, it's very kind of, in a way, is talking about what's going on now. Because if you follow the movie, if you read the room of the present, what's going on, you can identify who is good and who is bad, because you can see people that are doing bad things in politics, in society, in whatever. They are doing bad things, they are giving bad example, and they are doing that not because they want to help others, because they want to be a service, because they are looking for a purpose, because they have a motivation that it's higher motivation on a morally speaking. They are doing those stuff for themselves, and they're doing these things because they have a grudge towards someone, something, and they want to avenge. They want vengeance. This is the better way to put it. They want vengeance, and that's bad. You're not supposed to want vengeance. I mean, it's understandable, but you shouldn't be that vile and basically take your vengeance on innocent people just because you had a grudge, because somebody wronged you, or because something wasn't good in your life. This is fundamentally wrong in any way you put it. And we have a villain that it's basically, I don't remember her name. I have it here somewhere. Anyway, we have a villain, Julia Dreyfus. She's playing Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. That it's basically that, a person who wants power for herself and to control things and to impose whatever she thinks about the world, and she wants powers to herself. She's not doing something for others. Everything she's doing for herself, and to avenge something that happened to her, and she's taking that on other people, on innocent people. But the Thunderbolts, they are heroes fundamentally, because the thing is that Yelena, she's moving mechanically through life, and she's questioning this thing. She's like, this is not a way, a good way to live. This is not a good way to move forward. I can't do this. I gotta change this. She's trying to find purpose. She's broken. And this is the thing, like anybody else, even all the heroes that we see, that all of them, they are broken, they have done something bad, and they're trying to basically tell a new story, try to start over. They lost something because they have done something wrong. And the difference between a hero and a villain is that the hero is still someone who can understand good from bad and right from wrong. And those characters, they have done bad, but they know it. They have a sense of their responsibility. They feel guilty for what they have done. And they have a shadow self as well. And this idea of the shadow self, that it's going to be the story of the shadow self, the idea of the shadow self is going to go through Sentry and Bob by Lewis Pullman. I loved him in Chemistry Lesson. He's a very good actor. Anyway, his character is the same. He's somebody who got wronged when he was a kid, and because of the abuse of his childhood, he has this shadow self, this toxic talk telling him that he's not enough, he's not important, nobody loves him, nobody cares about him, he can't just off himself and it's gonna be fine, and everybody's gonna be fine because nobody cares about him. And in this way, he's basically creating a monster, because he's avenging on others, on innocent people, because of what happened to him, because he's shadow self. This is asking me to do violence, to be mean, to be unfair, to be to take others, to take what's others, and he's trying to destroy him in a way. And the movie is also about that. And Yelena understands that. And I love this about this movie, because anyway, they managed to put all of this in a superhero movie, because it has action scene, it has comedy, and most likely it has what I was saying before with Spider-Man and the recent heroes. They are heroes because they have they know they need to have an act of sacrifice in order to do something good. They understand right from wrong. They act as heroes. That when they do something as heroes, it's powerful. When we see Bucky for the first time, the way his entrance as a hero, it's very powerful. That is something that in the last couple of years heroes never done it. They were just there and doing stuff, things exploding, but their actions were meaningless. Here, their actions have a meaning. They are important, and they talk to us. We can relate to those heroes because they don't just stay in a corner whining. They take action, and they take action that are morally elevating them. Because they are they know what's good, they know what's wrong, and they know that just because the world wronged them, they can't wrong the world and make others pay. and it's amazing. I love it. I love the way Santry and Bob was told in the story. I like the way heroes are portrayed because they are finally powerful and epic and strong. Um, I I like the fact that it's a movie about today, but it's not obnoxious in the way to talk about those stuff, because you learn those stuff watching the movie and seeing what's going on. But it's not like there are huge speeches where they are exposing all the meanings behind the movie. It's not like that. In the last couple of years, even the MCU was annoying and obnoxious in the way they were kind of telling some stuff, and even the mise-en-scene of some morality was very obnoxious. In this way, it's very interesting and compelling and fascinating. And I believe the villain, as I say, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, she's amazing as a villain, because her villain is what we are seeing as vile and cruel today. So people in power just using their power for themselves and for their own agenda, and not for a greater good, and mostly just to avenge something that they think that somebody did wrong to them. It's just for themselves. It's not that there is no they don't care about others. So that's it. It's amazing. I think that it works. I believe the comedy works, and I believe it works because it's a little bit drier, and plus it's not, they take something very pop and very external to the movie and then they bring it in the movie. I mean, there are no jokes about, I don't know, Taylor Swift or whatever. The jokes are inside jokes. I mean, there are jokes about what's going on in the story, and they are very dry. They're not like the jokes that makes everything ridiculous. They are very I think it works, the comedy here. And I believe that maybe there is a moment where they could have spent 10 minutes more of runtime to allow us to see how all the characters, they resolve their issue, but they focus just on Yelena. But I believe they could have spent just 10 minutes, literally 10 minutes, to allow us to see whatever everybody else has to go through. Because in this way we care a little bit more about the heroes. But the fact they show just Yelena, it's okay, makes the movie a little bit weaker, I believe, but it's fine. It works in a way. So I believe Thunderbolts, it's a movie that finally it's working as a movie. It's a movie that stands on its own. Even if you don't know some of the character, it's fine. You're gonna enjoy the movie anyway. It's not like that you have to do homework and watch a shitload of TV show and movies before you catch up with Thunderbolts. Just if you haven't watched a couple of TV show of the MCU, just go watch Thunderbolts. You're gonna have fun. And the movie is funny. I believe the writing, it's okay. It's okay, an okay writing. The director, I think it's not a director that I know very well. I think I saw one of his movies, but I think it works. It works in the thing. I mean, in an action movie, is working very well. It's not like misplaced in the production. And go watch it. I believe it's great. I love the David Harbour. I love him. He's the kind of guy, the Red Guardian, the way they tell the story of the Red Guardian, is the kind of guy that you would like to meet in a pub when you go on Saturday to watch the Premier League. That's the kind of guy, that's the kind of bloke that you want to meet in a pub, and you're going to be friending. You're going to go every Saturday to that pub to talk to the Red Guardian. 100%. I would love to do that. I would be his buddy forever, as long as I live. It's the kind of character, so I love it. Go watch it. I think the movie is solid, and it's a good way to kickstart a new season. And I hope that they're gonna learn the lesson and they're gonna do this in the future for other movies. So go to the movie theater and watch Thunderbolts. Let me know what do you think about the movie, and see you next time. Share the podcast, vote for it, follow it, do your thing. You know what to do.